dye room decor until my room is full day free.
Forgot to record painting.
Alien trash can.
Follow for more.
I'm just so depressed, man. I don't think there's anything that's gonna cheer me up at this point.
Hamburger.
My name is Jake and I love my life. Kissing on lady cause she's basically my wife. Fixing up Nectar cause he fell from a tree. Catching up with Maja and Appy W.E.
Welcome to Doing Things I Always Said I Wanted to Do but never did now that I lost my dream job at 32 and don't know what the fuck to do with my life series. So I'm absolutely obsessed with tiles and I've been seeing these headboards on Pinterest with tiles, so I thought, why not give it a go? Broke unemployed girl version, I obviously had to buy contact paper, not real tiles for this project, but I cleaned off my headboard and then I started placing the tiles. It was actually so easy, but also I didn't measure shit, so I really was just raw dogging this project and hoping for the best, and I think it turned out okay. I did run into the issue where I ran out of contact paper for the very last section and it's driving me crazy. Also, y'all did point out that it is crooked. Yes, I knew it was crooked from the moment I did it. So I did fix it today. However, the way I put my headboard together, there's a little gap. So I think it's always kind of gonna look crooked, but overall, I think it looks much better. And yes, I will be fixing that blank spot eventually.
Today I'm taking this lamp from the most boring thing that you've ever seen in your whole life to something very, very cute and only spending like $5 to do it. The vision is colorful and whimsical. Of course, I wanted to incorporate my current favorite color combo, pink and burgundy. So I used some leftover paint samples to do a base coat and then add some stars. Those clips were only like 5 seconds long, but it took me 2 days to draw all of the stars on. It was a labor of love, but so worth it. And then I did something I've never done before. I fabric dyed the lampshade. I was so nervous about how it was going to turn out, but it was actually really easy. I totally recommend if you have any boring white lampshades around, just dip it in some dye and it'll be pink or whatever color you want it to be. Originally, I wanted the lampshade a little darker, but because this was my first time, I didn't really know how long to leave it in the dye for, and somehow it ended up the same exact color as the base. First, I didn't like, but after some time, it is growing on me. I might end up adding some fringe or something just for a little pizzazz, but let me know what you think.
it's way too easy. You can watch me more than your TV. Make sure she see I'm the main bitch on the show like Mo. Y'all can be missing. 'Cause I give all them competition. They don't even deserve my attention. And she can leave before her entrance. I don't give a fuck about none of y'all bitches.
Mrs. Magic to and fro.
Today, let's make this 5-hole 3D bow. First, assemble it all according to the diagram. The bow has 3 parts in total. The largest piece is heat pressed. While it's hot, shape it, pinch it into a bow shape. Prepare this row of interlocking pieces. Tape it down using painter's tape. The bow that was just folded. Attach it with the 5 holes facing up. Another piece has holes. Attach it facing up underneath. Place parchment paper on top. Heat press in sections, so they connect together. While it's still hot, quickly curl it. Pay attention, watch my technique. Just keep curling it. The bow's basic shape is forming. After it cools, it will hold its shape. If it's not sturdy, you can add more glue. Take out the final piece. Apply glue at the center. Join the 2 parts. The 5-hole 3D bow is ready. It's simple and pretty.
have a cool room. So I usually get a decent amount of questions about my room, and like a lot of compliments. So let me help you make your dream room. For credentials, this is what my room looked like 3 years ago. And this is what it looks like now. Small table. I find this to be a really cool way to just like display stuff. I have a hat stack, Gundams, little toys, artwork, figurines, this mirror I got from IKEA, and my magazine collection. You can also display stuff on the windowsill, but be careful of sun fading. A memory shelf. A memory shelf is where you put stuff that reminds you of like a core memory. It's just like your whole entire life in one shelf. Like these paper bands from concerts and events I went to and tickets. These chopsticks I got when I first moved to Austin. King Crimson I made in middle school. Mario I got from my first ever flea market in Korea. And a rock I got from camp. This Spider-Man Russian doll I made like in 3rd grade. Like I think this is such a unique way to display like your experiences. And you can talk about each item to your friends. And you can even revisit some favorite memories from this shelf. So yeah, I highly encourage you to try this. Let me know if you have any more questions about my room. Bye!
I made this little Simpson themed Duff cabinet knob to match my kitchen, and I think it turned out so cute. I started out by warming up my clay, and then I picked some colors that I don't use very often because I'm going to paint it anyway. And then I started molding it. While it was baking, I wanted to do another knob.
Tutor how to make a die. Came very easy. You need paper, a candle, a sheet of plastic. Draw whatever you want, and then cut it. Sorry, I forgot to record, so I'll show you with this little star. Then make a hole in it. I'm using this paper cutter. And tada, now you have your own handmade KK. Enjoy.
It's so sweet. Knowing that you love me. Though you don't need to say to each other sweet.
How do you do all these home projects as a disabled person? Let me preface by saying that disability is a wide spectrum. Autism and ADHD particularly give me issues with executive dysfunction that make starting and finishing tasks a little more difficult. My hypermobile EDS means I'm in chronic pain at most times, and physical labor especially can cause flare-ups. So how do I do it? 1. planning and breaking down tasks. One of the most daunting things for me is quite literally just starting a task that seems too big, so I divide it up as small as I can. Instead of just update the bathroom, it's gather some inspiration, pick the paint swatches, mock it up, search for a new bathroom rug, paint the walls, paint the cabinets, and so on. Every check gives me a little hit of dopamine, and I map all this out in my project software tool to track. And most importantly, 2. I'm realistic about my time and capabilities. I know I can't do manual labor for longer than a couple of hours without consequences, so I don't. I take several days to paint a small space. I'm in no rush to complete anything. I'm 5 years into home renovations and still haven't finished, and that's okay. I also probably have more time to give to these projects than a lot of you as someone who works from home and works less hours. Number 3. I'm motivated by my special interest. Art and design is one of my oldest spins, and that has a big factor on how much energy and time I'm willing to give to home projects compared to things I don't care about. And in typical ADHD fashion, I definitely rev my hyperfixations for home projects, which means I sometimes overdo it. Like that time I thought I could paint the entire outside of my 2-story house on my own. Yeah, it took me 3 whole months, I still haven't painted one wall, and I did new projects for almost a year after. Bye, friends.
And I wanted it to look like those sugar cookies. So I made a round piece, and then I got a little bit more clay to do the icing. And I was jumping back and forth between these two. So while the sugar cookie was baking, that's when I started using my little paint pens to put the design on there. I ended up getting the blow dryer to make the paint dry faster because I wanted to do a second coat to make it pop. And when that gray was dry, I went in with a metallic silver to make it look more like a can. I decided to go with like a deep pink icing just because I thought that color was so pretty. I did 2 different kinds of sprinkles, and I held those on with some resin. The hardest part of the duff knob was doing the outlines and the writing because it's so small. My hand was almost like shaking. I was having to use my pinky to like stabilize myself. I know the handwriting's not perfectly matched, but I still think it turned out pretty good. I sealed them in to give them like a glossy look, and when I showed my husband the sugar cookie, he thought it was real. He wanted to eat it. But I think both of them match my kitchen perfectly.
It's Christmas time, so I made some homemade ornaments from scratch out of this stuff. It is called salt dough, and you can make it yourself. It's super easy. Here are the instructions on how to make it yourself and also like cut it out and design it. I highly recommend taking a screenshot of those instructions. So there's 2 main methods I recommend for cutting out your image. You can either print and cut out a template and then just like trace around it, or you can use these cookie cutters. These are cookie cutters I 3D printed at home, and look. Boom! We got a star baby just like that. I also have more designs. I have Cade, I have a clown, and I have a ghost. And I'm also going to be releasing these cookie cutter designs for free on my newsletter. So you can download the STL files and print them at home yourself. And you can join my newsletter on milkytomato.com. Okay, but anyway, we're going to stick these in the oven for an hour. More like an hour and a half. They needed a bit longer to cook because they're kind of thick. And today, we're just going to paint the star baby and the ghost. We're going to keep it a little simple. So I took my Poscas and some of my other paint markers, which were not working, and I painted their little body and little face, and same with the ghost. And then for the loop, I just glued some paper clips onto the back of each of these ornaments, and then just like strung some ribbon through the loop, and just tied it off, and boom, we got our silly little ornaments. So let's go hang them up on the tree. I think considering this is my first attempt making salt dough ornaments, I think they turned out really cute. I'd love to try again and like try to make them a bit smoother, and also just make them a bit more detailed. But if you make some yourself, please tag me. I'd love to see.
Want to make a DIY squishy pin? You'll need printer, soft stretchy fabric, pins, needle, and thread. Take the pin apart. Scrape the paper off. Tape the fabric to the paper. Make sure the flap is going straight. I used my scanner to scan the paper to get the size of the pin and the fabric, but you could also take a picture. I used an A for canvas on Canva. You can use whatever editing app you want. Make sure the picture is a little larger than the pin itself so it covers the sides of the pin. Make sure the photos are inside the fabric. Pray the printer doesn't jam. If you're concerned, you can do a test to print with an empty page. Born safely. Cut it out. So a running stitch around the area of the picture. Make sure it's a little off the picture. Put the stuffing inside and pull taut. Massage the stuffing around so it's evenly spread. Optional, add some glue too. Secure it. Push until you hear a click. And voila, you have your pin. Enjoy *****.